After Battlefront II removed microtransactions, thus eliminating the pay-to-win elements of its system, people wondered if they were going to be left with a slogging grind. And they were! That was until a couple days ago when EA DICE rolled out with credit changes. What good guys they are! So good to us. Anyway, while Battlefront II languishes without its microtransactions, that again EA said will not affect their bottom line, so there goes that excuse, it's up to the amount of in-game credits you can earn, thus upping the rewards so it's less of a grind. And what I really like about this is that, like EA's little report that it gave to its investors, it's an unwitting admission of dishonesty toward the audience. In this case, by removing the microtransactions and, as a result, upping the amount of credits you earn in-game, we have a tacit admission that microtransactions genuinely affect and impact in-game rewards. For those who say microtransactions are just optional, no they're not, they affect the fucking game. If they didn't, their removal literally wouldn't have impacted the game. Instead it has, so they've had to up the rewards, because without the microtransactions, all of that grinding without an alternative unlock system seems just a little bit unreasonable. Which of course, to those already resisting the allure of microtransactions, it was, but it's not like EA was ever going to admit that while they were offering you player choice and player freedom to skip the grind with paid alternatives. Thanks to EA's greed, they ballsed that one up and were left with a game that was nothing but a slog. So now, in a desperate attempt to keep people playing, they've had to make the game more rewarding, which it wasn't at first, and wasn't going to be until EA got in trouble. Let's not fucking forget that. These are being called the initial steps toward making some changes, but here's what you're looking at right now. The end of round payout has been increased. You actually get some decent number of credits when you win a match, and if you perform especially well, you don't feel like you've been given pocket change. The amount of credits you can earn a day in arcade mode before it tells you can't earn anymore has been updated. That now accrues 3 times the credits it used to, giving it a cap of 1,500. And finally, daily login crates will now provide more crafting parts than before. You get a loot box just for logging in, and crafting and upgrading those game-changing star cards should now be quicker and easier thanks to the amount of crafting parts you get in your daily box. These changes have rolled out before Star Wars Battlefront II begins its Last Jedi season, officially tying Battlefront II in with the Last Jedi movie. And it does seem they're a little bit desperate to curry favour with its audience again after pissing everyone off before the film comes out. Funny that. For me, this is a case of too little too late. I got over Star Wars Battlefront 2 after a week of it. I played it to do a Gimpressions video of it, then I played it some more after the microtransactions were removed, and just found it so fucking tiresome. So utterly tiresome and grindy, and they can up the rewards now. I'm checked out. I'm done. I'm finished with it. Sorry. Too late for me. And I blame no one else for feeling the same way. When they removed the microtransactions, they exposed Battlefront 2 for what it really was, a nakedly cynical attempt to squeeze more money out of the wallets of those who have already dropped money to buy a game. The increased rewards post-microtransactions only admits that. It's a confession. They'll spin it as generosity, but that's what it really is. It's a fucking confession. And I'll remember it as well the next time some mouthpiece for a game corporation talks about their microtransactions as just offering choices and giving players freedom. And the next time they spout that garbage to Eurogamer or IGN or whoever, you know what? I hope the interviewer just says Star Wars Battlefront 2. Answer that one. Because Star Wars Battlefront 2 is the fee-to-pay model laid bare. It's a dead frog on a school lab table, opened up for us to all have a root around in the guts, and I love it. The rooting around is the bit I love, not Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is a game I despise. As with all these things, you can have a look at the dev blog for yourself and see the faux generosity that's liberally sprinkled throughout it. The usual, oh, we just looked at this and we agree it's bad, as if you didn't design it that way to begin with. They always do that. They always do that. We've listened, we've looked, and we agree. Why weren't you looking to begin with? Where were the testers? Were you even listening to them? Why is it only after massive audience backlash and the threat of legislation that you finally decided to agree that, hey, our game wasn't all that rewarding to play? Once again, the online nature of video games makes them mutable, changeable, they can adapt. And they allow a corporate mouthpiece to say, hey, we listened to you and look how great we are, we've just made changes based on your feedback. Eventually, they can patch out whatever made a game bad and then pretend it was never bad. But it was. And just like Activision with its patenting, it can say, oh, this hasn't been in any games yet. But what really matters is that your motive has been put out there. We've already seen what you want. And what Electronic Arts wanted was a Star Wars game that punished people for playing it and blatantly attempted to psychologically railroad them into spending additional money. Money that gets wasted on an RNG-based glorified gambling system, let's not forget. And if that wasn't the case, then Star Wars Battlefront 2 wouldn't need improvements with the microtransactions removed. It would still be perfect as is, right? The option to buy loot boxes was just that, an option, right? No, it's actually what I've been saying for years. It's not optional because it affects every facet of the fucking game that it's in. Microtransactions in premium games and especially loot boxes are effing poison, and I'd just like to personally thank Electronic Arts for admitting that publicly with this move, because that's what it's done. Thanks for the confession. I won't forget it.